providing shuttle service for the many people that were standing here outside. Just a few minutes ago, they shut the doors so no one's able to go inside here to the Forest Hill station and use this light rail. So again, if you're headed here, this is one of the stations that is shut down. You're not going to be able to use it, and that's because officials say the shooting happened on the Muni train between here at Forest Hill and the Castro station. And looks like they do have shuttle service coming through here now and trying to get people on that bus bridge service so they can get to and from where they need to go. But as you can see, people are still standing here outside, many of them showing up, trying to figure out what happened, many of them asking us what happened. Again, this is all because of a deadly shooting that happened at a busy time around 10 a.m. One person was killed, another injured. And again, that happened between this station and the Castro, where you saw Leanne Melendez reporting. They are asking witnesses to come forward with any video, any information. There was no lockdown in this neighborhood or any of the neighborhoods that we're aware of, but what you do need to know is that this station, this Forest Hill station, is closed at this point, so you'll want to find alternative transportation if you do take the light Muni to get to wherever you need to go here in San Francisco. We're going to continue to stay here, bring you any updates, any new information that comes about. And of course, we'll let you know as soon as this opens up for you. Live in San Francisco, Karina Nova.
Karina, thank you. And Myrna Melgar is the District 7 supervisor, so she represents Forest Hill, where Karina is standing right now. We had the chance to speak with her a few minutes ago. I do want to note this interview was done before we got that most recent interview with the police live on the air with Leanne. So here is that interview. Okay, we go back to our breaking news now. We've been telling you about San Francisco Supervisor Myrna Melgar tweeting in regards to the shooting on Muni, the deadly shooting. Supervisor, thanks for joining us. The concern right now, I think that a lot of folks who live in the Castro District have, is that apparently the suspect ran out of the Muni station. Do we have any idea if police are able to track this person down?
We do not yet know where the investigation is. We do know that the shooting happened after a heated verbal altercation between the shooter and the victim, who is now deceased. A second victim was shot. It is not clear whether that was intentional or accidental after the first shooting. When the train stopped at the Castro station, the shooter ran out. We know that the San Francisco Police Department immediately deployed a team to secure the station so that they could conduct an investigation of the train. We do not have, as of right now, restoration of service, although the MTA is running buses from Forest Hill to the Castro station. But we will keep the public informed as soon as we know more.
So you mentioned that there was some sort of verbal altercation between the shooter and at least one of the victims. So that would be the victim who was shot and killed, correct?
Yes, correct.
And do we have any idea if there's a relationship between these people, if they were strangers riding Muni today?
We do not yet know that information. What we do know is that there were multiple eyewitnesses to the altercation and the shootings, as this happened at 10 in the morning, a little bit before 10, which is usually when people are still going to work. So the train had multiple people that witnessed this.
And so far, we don't know if any witnesses saw where the shooter went, correct?
We do know that the eyewitnesses saw the shooter run out of the train as soon as it stopped and the doors were opened. But although the folks also, because they were afraid of what would happen, also ran out.
And we know that Muni stations do have at least some surveillance. Any idea if this surveillance caught an image of the suspect?
I have not gotten that information from SFPD yet.
I do want to talk to you about something. Of course, we have no idea what the motive is right now, but a lot of the members of the LGBTQ community are concerned because of other acts of violence or intimidation that have happened during some Bay Area, but also some other areas around the country that are associated with Pride. And so the community is on edge. So I'm wondering what you have to say to them this morning.
It is understandable that the community is on edge. Our country has seen a lot of hate against the LGBTQ community and the Asian community. There is no evidence, or I do not have any information to point that this was a targeted shooting because of somebody's ethnicity or sexual orientation. What we do know is that there was a heated verbal argument between the shooter and the victim. So there was something going on between them immediately preceding the shooting.
And I may have missed what you said about the second victim, who I understand was also hurt, taken to the hospital, but has survived. Do we know how that person got involved in this?
So what we do know, the information that I have gotten from SFPD is that that person, the second victim, was not involved in the verbal altercation, just happened to be nearby when the shooting happened. So there is no information or evidence to suggest that that second victim was an intended target of the shooting, but we do know that they were standing nearby.
Okay, we know there's a heavy police presence around the Castro station. This is one of the most trafficked, both car and pedestrian areas of the city. Should people just be avoiding this corner altogether right now?
People should be avoiding that corner because it will be quite a while before the San Francisco police is done gathering physical evidence and conducting their investigation. So I would say, folks, avoid it if you can.
Supervisor Melgar, this is Kristen Z. My question is, I'm seeing in response to your tweet about this, a lot of people are saying they question the safety on Muni in general. And I wonder if this is a point that you'll be taking up.
There has been a distrust of Muni, first because of the pandemic, and then because, violent incidents have occurred in Muni, not just lately. There has been, violence in our society everywhere. I do think that there are too many guns out available for our population, and that is something that we must tackle. I think that the city has looked at safety on Muni, and the MTA specifically has been working on a plan, and I trust that those measures will be effective.
All right, Supervisor, also you mentioned to Reggie that there was a heated argument between the suspect and the victim. I wonder if anyone described what the argument was over.
I do not have that information, and I think that the San Francisco police will probably put out that information throughout the day as they complete their investigation.
All right, of course, since
Supervisor,
then,
thank you for providing all the information so quickly. We really appreciate you being on with us.
Thank you so much, and thank you for covering and keeping the public informed.
Of course, Reggie, since then we've heard from San Francisco Police PIO, Catherine Winters, who elaborated that they still at this point cannot say whether they knew each other, the shooter and the victim who is deceased. But there was that heated argument. Still don't know the nature of what they argued about. There are many witnesses. They're hoping for more. All right, in the meantime, let's show you the subway map here. This did occur on a moving Muni subway train this morning between Forest Hill and the Castro stations. As you know, because of the investigation, the service is paused between those 2 points, and you can just see where they are located. Not a great distance. So what happened was, sometime after they left the Forest Hill station, that's when the shooting occurred on the train. And when the train got to the Castro station, the suspect fled, got out of the train, ran off, and the suspect is still on the loose right now.
This does affect a couple of the lines, and this primarily the lines that go in and out of downtown underground. So if that is where you are heading, you're probably going to want to go a different way. They are providing some alternative forms of transportation, but it's probably best to just figure out a different way to bridge yourself if you're going in or out of downtown today and you're planning to use Muni.
Yeah, and Reggie, Karina just told us, Karina Nova, who, as you know, we just heard from the Forest Hill station, she said now she has spotted shuttle service at Forest Hill, now taking people downtown. So they have shuttles and L motor coach service. So it took them a while to set that up, but it appears to be up and running for people to take buses instead, to get to shuttles instead, to get to where they need to go, because this investigation and processing the scene could take quite some time.
And important to note again, and this has been stressed a couple of times by police and the supervisor that we just spoke to, that it doesn't appear that this has anything to do with pride that is currently happening here in San Francisco, nor does it appear that this person was targeted, had anything to do with being a member of the LGBTQ plus community, although we don't know who these victims are or who the shooter is at this point. But that is what they're saying, that this does not appear to be, for example, a hate crime, at least at this moment. Things can always change, but that is the way that they are looking at this currently. That's the mindset that they're using. They say that this appears to be an isolated incident. Those are their words. And we don't know the condition of the person who was shot and taken to the hospital. There are some preliminary reports that that person may have been shot in the leg. Of course, we're hoping for the best for that person. It also isn't clear exactly how that person got involved, because the initial information we got from the District 7 supervisor was that that person, they don't think, was involved in this heated argument that was apparently happening between the alleged shooter and the victim who died from the shooting.
Right. So we need to get to the nature of that. But what we do know is that the suspect is still at large. However, police do not consider it an active shooter situation. All right, let's go right back out to Karina Nova outside the Forest Hill station with the latest update for us. Karina, you say the shuttles are up now?
Yeah, so the bus shuttles are up now. They're going through here. We've seen a couple come through, and I want you to take a look. Unfortunately, not everyone is aware that this Forest Hill station is closed, so we just saw a group of people, this group of people show up. They try to open the doors. You're going to see one person try to open the door right there, and they're realizing that this Forest Hill station is closed. Now, the good news for them is that there will be a shuttle coming through here probably within the next 10-15 minutes. We've seen a couple of them go through. People are getting on once they realize this station is closed, and they're getting to wherever they need to go. Many people heading into San Francisco. So again, this is the Forest Hill station where they say that shooting happened on the Muni train between here and the Castro station. That's why this one here is shut down. I did talk to the employees here. I asked them, how long do you think this is going to be closed? So many people use this station here, and they said at this point they don't know. But if people do happen to arrive here, they can get on one of those buses. So again, if you are going to be taking the Muni today, this is going to be a big problem for you, and you will have to plan around this. And this is all because of that deadly shooting that happened around 10 a.m. between this station and the Castro station. And we're going to continue to follow that here and bring you any updates. But again, this is one of the buses that's coming through here. You're going to see it pull up right there to my right. So a lot of people are going to be getting on and hopefully getting to wherever they need to go. As you can imagine, some people frustrated because of this closure, but obviously closed for a good reason and a serious situation, that breaking news that we're covering for that deadly shooting. We're going to stay on this here for you. We'll keep you updated. If they happen to reopen the station, we'll be the first to let you know, and we'll send those updates for you. Live here in San Francisco, Karina Nova, ABC 7 News.
All right, Karina, thank you so much. Just moments ago, we got the latest that SF police have in terms of what they have for the public.
Okay, so here's what they had to say.
So this morning at approximately 10 a.m., officers from San Francisco Police Department assigned to Park Station responded to the Forest Hill Station on a report of a shooting. When officers arrived at Forest Hill Station, they found that the train had already left the station. Officers gained additional information that the train was headed towards Castro Muni Station. When officers arrived at Castro Muni Station, they located two victims. Officers rendered aid and summoned medical attention. One victim was transported to Zuckerberg San Francisco General with non-life-threatening injuries. Despite life-saving measures by the officers from the San Francisco Police Department and the San Francisco Fire Department, the other victims succumbed to their injuries on the scene. This incident is under investigation by inspectors from the San Francisco Police Department Homicide Detail and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. No arrests have been made at this time, and as further information becomes available, we will release it. I also want to assure the community that this incident does not appear to have any connection to Pride events or does not appear to target the LGBTQ community. So I really want to make sure that our community members and visitors who are in town for Pride Week understand that.
So this was a very busy time, 10 a.m. Was it crowded? Could you explain?
I don't know how crowded the train was. We do know when the train arrived here, most of the people from the train exited the train quickly, so we don't exactly know how crowded the train was.
Do you believe that the two people, or the shooter and the people involved who were victims, may have known each other?
Unfortunately, I don't have any information on that right now.
So you're pretty sure it's not a hate crime, is what you're saying?
Yeah, this appears to be an isolated incident.
The supervisor said that there was a verbal altercation beforehand. Do you have any between the two?
We don't know for sure yet exactly what happened on the train. We are working to gather information, which will include surveillance footage and any other footage from the Muni train.
And where did he go?
Are they looking for a specific suspect?
I don't have any specific information or release in regards to the suspect at this time.
But he fled the station?
Pardon?
They fled from the station?
They fled from the station, but based on the information we have, there's no need for any kind of lockdown or any kind of shelter in place in the area at this time.
If you're looking for this person, is there anything that the public can help? Do you have a description of the person?
I don't have a description yet. As soon as we get that, we will release information.
Is there video on board that might show or income inside the station?
All the Muni trains and all the Muni stations do have video. We do have personnel that are working to retrieve that video so that it can be analyzed and determine anything on there that will help us in this investigation.
What would cause a lockdown? I mean, if you ran into the neighborhood, would you lock down the neighborhood, and because you ran some other way, there's no need for a lockdown? That's what I'm not clear on.
So a lockdown would be triggered if we had information that the suspect was still in the area and armed, and that it appeared to be a non-isolated incident where they were targeting random people. That would be something that could trigger a lockdown.
What about the passengers on the train? What happened when they deboarded, and have you guys spoken with any of the passengers?
I don't know exactly how many we've spoken with. I do know that many of the passengers immediately left the train in the station.
There's witnesses out there. There's a few members.
Yes, there could potentially be witnesses out there. We do ask that anyone who was on the train who may have seen the incident or may have even recorded it or have any video footage or photos to please reach out to the San Francisco Police Department.
There's a few members of the gang enforcement detail who are here. Any reason to believe that this might be gang related?
Not that I'm currently aware of.
So you mentioned finally again that this is Pride Week, and people are on edge to begin with the shootings and other events and other instances. What do you tell this community?
Okay, so that was a few minutes ago, just outside the BART station, the San Francisco Police giving us an update on what they had to tell us. We're going to go back to that same location. That's where Leanne Melendez has been gathering information for us for the past hour and a half or so. Hi, Leanne.
Hi, Reggie. We just have an update for you. According to the public information officer for the San Francisco Police Department, the suspect is described as a male, unknown race, wearing dark clothes and a hooded jacket. So as we mentioned before, he exited this train station, which is the Muni Underground Castro station, and the shooting occurred sometime in between the Forest Hill station and this station, of course, on board that train. And we spoke earlier before to Rafael Mendelman, who is the supervisor representing the Castro district, and he was the first one to say that this was not a hate crime, because, of course, that's something that comes up right away in this community. But instead, he believes, and he's been able to confirm this, is that this was a verbal altercation between two men. An argument ensued, and that's when one of the men shot the other one. That person is dead. and the gunman apparently shot another person, but that person was injured, is not dead. That person was sent to the hospital. So let's listen to the interview by Supervisor Mandelman, who gives you a clear picture of sort of what happened at 10 o'clock this morning when that Muni train was very crowded.
It sounds like there was an altercation between folks who may have known each other inside the subway between Forest Hill and Castro. Somebody had a gun. There was at least one gun, and one person was, I believe, dead on arrival by the time they got to Castro Muni, and then it appears that a bystander was shot, although not fatally, and they've been taken to General, I believe.
Do you have anything else on the shooter?
I mean, the shooter, I am not aware that the shooter has been apprehended. I think SFPD is working on it, and I have confidence that they're going to investigate this and pursue it and find that person and bring that person to justice.
And as you heard there, that person is still out there. We don't know if he's armed at the moment, but we have a description finally, in case you didn't hear before that. Male, unknown race, dark clothes with a hooded jacket. That's what we got from the San Francisco Police Department. This community obviously on edge for obvious reasons. It's Pride Week. And so everybody is asked to, if you see something, that's one of the things that the supervisor said, if you see something, say something, because it's very important here. Again, the shooter still out there, and unfortunately one person dead and another person injured during this, what appears to be an altercation, a verbal argument between these two people. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, Leanne, I mean, it's certainly a vague description, but I know a lot of the small businesses in that area have been wondering ever since they heard about the shooting what to look out for. So at least we have that little bit of information to start with, and I'm sure there'll be more. Leanne, appreciate it.
We'll just recap that little bit of information that we do have on the suspect, because the suspected gunman is still at large. So it is a male, unknown race, dark clothing, and wearing a hooded jacket is what police provided in terms of details. But Reggie, they do have surveillance cameras, so hopefully they're looking at that and will be providing an actual photo or, you know, some better description, more detail very soon.
Right. That will be extremely helpful. Of course, Leanne also talking about the second person who was taken to the hospital with Supervisor Mandelman, and, you know, we're grateful that person survived. It does appear, according to police, that they have non-life-threatening injuries. Of course, that can mean a lot of things. That can certainly change someone's life. So we will be continuing to monitor that and thinking of them. And, of course, wondering who this person was who was shot and killed on the Muni today on their way to the, or at least it happened en route to the Castro station. We don't know what their final destination was, but that is unnerving for a lot of us who use public transportation, and of course those of us who live in these neighborhoods that are, you know, pedestrian-friendly neighborhoods. When you hear of someone running out of the Castro station into the public like that, that's very worrisome.
The investigation is just getting underway, of course, but many more questions in the days ahead. Already you're seeing folks asking on social to some of the supervisors what can be done to improve safety. Muni, although guns and, you know, shootings are not common, it did happen this morning with deadly results. All right, we'll have a lot more for you on ABC7 News today at 3 and 4. And of course, right now we'll join GMA3 already in progress.
Be safe out there. Thanks for watching this.